Hello everyone, I'm Jane Chevalier and you're watching TCNJ TV. Today we have Miss Sue Ann Miller, a graduate student from TCNJ, who is conducting research for her Adolescent Psychology course. Tell me, Sue Ann, what is your research all about?
Well, I'm going to be doing a research project about cell phones for adolescents.
Why did you choose this topic to discuss?
Well, I'm a substitute teacher, and I've been working in the school system now for about 4 years, and everywhere I turn at the high school and middle school level, all of these teenagers have cell phones. Now, I know that they're starting to incorporate it in the schools and in the classroom environments, and so I was trying to understand, is it really beneficial for these adolescents? Are they able, responsible, capable? Is it beneficial for them to use cell phones at home, at school, and at play?
May I ask, as of right now, what is your opinion on adolescents and cell phone use? I mean, should they be used in a classroom?
My opinion was, as I saw all these kids with these phones, I looked at them as spoiled brats, and I thought that there is no way that these children should have cell phones. With social media comes great responsibility and an ability to understand the consequences of posting stuff permanently on public display. It's a responsibility that I didn't believe that teenagers had the ability to comprehend. And so I thought it was irresponsible and reckless of their parents to purchase them. And they were spoiled.
By what means will you be researching for your final product? How do you plan to draw your conclusions?
Well, I plan to interview teenagers. I have 4 planned. And also I'm going to read some opinions by some professionals and do some research on parents and their views. And decide for myself with that and assessing the information, like I said, from our class and our coursework as well on what I believe is going to be the tactic I'm going to use in my classroom and possibly for my own children as they reach adolescence. All right, Eric, thank you for participating in my interview.
Sure.
All right, show us your cell phone there, senior. Nice. Nice. That's old school right there. At what age did you get it?
16.
So
No,
just
15.
Do you remember when you started to ask for one or started wanting one?
I don't know, maybe 12.
When you were like 12? Okay, so that would have been like 6th grade?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's when they were cool.
Do your teachers let you guys use them?
Yes.
Okay, what kind of stuff do you use them for?
For Kahoot, it's like a online study thingy for school. Like, it's like the teacher has Kahoot. He or she sets up a quiz, and it's a quiz online. So you have 4 answer choices and the questions on the board.
Do you guys ever use it for research, for projects or anything?
Yes.
Now your phone isn't a smartphone, is it?
Nope.
Okay, so you can't use yours for research or anything?
Nope.
Okay. Can you play Kahoot with it?
Nope.
Okay. At what grade did your teacher start allowing or incorporating your cell phones? In 9th grade?
9th grade.
Okay. Do you think it's important for a teenager to have a cell phone?
Not really.
No? Why not?
I don't need it. It's just nice to have.
All right. About how many of your friends would you say have a cell phone? All, some, none, most?
Almost all.
Okay. Do you talk to your friends with phones outside of school?
I'll text my friends every once in a while, but sometimes we use Skype and just chat on there.
Okay. You use a lot of Skype. On your computers or tablets?
Yep, my computer and my tablet.
Okay. Do you talk to your friends who don't have phones outside of school?
When I see them, yes.
Okay. When you see them?
Yeah, like
outside of school.
Outside of school, if we see them, if I see them.
Okay, but you don't really connect with them otherwise.
If they have Skype, I'll talk to them on Skype also.
Okay, cool. Now honestly, when you meet someone who doesn't have a phone,
Do you think anything about them?
I'm like, wow, that sucks because I've been there since I was like 15 years old. I know what it feels like.
What does it feel like? Would you say?
Feels like you're left out. Like I don't got a phone. I'm gonna talk to my friends when they're yay far away, so they could be on the other side of the Jackson we live in. And how am I gonna talk to them?
Do you think other people think of people differently because they don't have a phone or they do have a phone?
Yes.
What kind of things do you think people think?
They think that they're stupid or they're just like, bro, sucks to you.
You not having a smartphone, do you think people think of you differently or think less of you?
Not really.
No? You don't think it matters?
I don't really care.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, and what would you say you use your phone for the most?
Music.
For music? About it?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's about it.
All right, Nicole. Thank you for participating in the interview today. All right, let me see your cell phone.
I don't have one.
You don't have one. All right, well, do you remember at what age you started asking for one or thinking you needed one?
Around 6th or 7th.
Okay. Do your teachers let other students use their cell phones?
Yeah.
Yeah. For what kind of stuff?
Like for classwork or at the end of the class, they'll be allowed to play on it or just studying.
Okay, well, what grade would you say your teachers started allowing you to use it?
7th?
Do you think it's important for a teenager to have one?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's important?
Because if they're ever in a situation where no one's with them, they're going to need a phone to call their parents just in case something goes wrong.
How many of your friends would you say have a cell phone? All, some, none, most? All of your friends? You're the only one? Okay. Do you ever talk to your friends outside of school who have phones?
Not really, I do, but it's like only one friend, really.
Okay. Why do you think it has something to do with you having a phone or not having a phone?
I don't know.
Do you ever notice, do a lot of your friends talk to each other outside of school? And how do they usually communicate?
Through their phone, they text, they email each other, they phone call each other.
Do a lot of Facebook stuff too, right? Yeah. When you find out someone doesn't have a cell phone, honestly, what do you think about them when they don't have one?
I don't feel like anything towards them. I just sort of feel like it's a relief knowing I'm not the only person.
Do you think anybody else thinks about you differently because you don't have one?
I'm not sure about that. Maybe yes, because they can think financial situations.
You said your teachers will use it for projects and stuff during class sometimes, right? How does it make you feel when you're are you usually the only one in class who doesn't have a phone to use? What do you usually do?
I'll talk to my teacher if I can use a computer, and if she can't, I'll talk to my friend about doing the writing work, and then she goes home and does project.
Okay. All right. And so usually you'll work in like partners. Now, do you find like a lot of the cell phone projects are partner based anyway?
Most of the time. I do have one student. He is 13 years old. His name is Dan, and he did not want to be videotaped. So I'm going to share his information. Okay, he just got a cell phone. It's a flip phone, an old-fashioned pay-by-the-minute phone that his parents just gave him. He's been wanting one for a couple years. He's got a couple older brothers. He doesn't talk to his friends except at school. So when he goes to school, it's not about school. It's about catching up with his friends because he doesn't have access to talk to them, because he doesn't have a tablet or a cell phone or any way to communicate other than borrowing his parents' phone. He does think kids need it, but he doesn't also. Most of his friends have phones. There's probably one or two other kids in his class that do not. Yes, they do use it in the classroom. They play games like Kahoot. They use it for research projects, making videos, and taking pictures. Most of those projects are group projects, so he's able to work in a group. But it bothers him, but it doesn't bother him that he doesn't have one. He's happy that he has a cell phone now, though his parents just gave him one. His parents do monitor, of course, his minutes because it's a pay-by-the-minute phone. Also, they have all his passwords for his Facebook and his Instagram, so they do check on it, and he does know that they check on it. He does tap into content that he knows he shouldn't. But he's very aware that his parents have access to anything. So he tries to not get in trouble. He doesn't want to get anything taken away. His parents had let him get a cell phone so that he could ride his bike around in the neighborhood because he wasn't allowed to go anywhere because no one could get in touch with him otherwise. So he has that so that he has a little more freedom to travel around now that he's 13. I think that's pretty much all we covered in the interview, so that I think that everyone needs to hear about. And so I wanted to record this to document about Dan. Thanks.
All right, I got you, Jake. All right, Jake, thank you for being a willing participant in the interview. All right, so show me your cell phone. Show the camera. That's a pretty big phone. Mm-hmm. What is that, an iPhone 6?
6 Plus.
Ooh, 6 Plus. All right, so at what age did you get a cell phone first?
I think I was like 11.
11? Okay, is that when you started asking for one, or when did you start wanting one?
I started wanting one when I was like 9.
Or like 9? Okay. Do your teachers let you use them in school?
In high school, no. They're not going to let us.
Oh, they're not?
I mean, some classes might, others might not, but usually they make us put them in a basket.
All right. Well, what about, was it like that in middle school too?
No.
No? What did you guys use them for?
Research. And when the teacher wasn't looking, we played games.
And that was in middle school? What grade? 6th grade, 7th, 8th?
All 3.
And do you think it's important for a teenager to have a cell phone?
Yes and no. Because they need it for some things and other things they act stupid with.
Yeah. Like what?
Well, there's one kid that I'm not going to name, but he posts like about people and it's not right, it's mean.
All right. About how many of your friends have a cell phone?
All
of your friends? Okay. Do you talk to your friends who have phones outside of school?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think it's because they have cell phones?
No.
And then you said none of your friends don't have phones outside of school.
There might be a few, but...
Do you ever talk to them?
The ones who don't have cell phones?
Yeah.
Yes.
You still do. Okay. How?
I ride my bike.
Cool. All right. What do you think about somebody when they say they don't have a cell phone? Do you think anything different?
No.
What do you think others think or say about you when they see that you do have such a nice phone?
Yeah, it pays off when you work.
It does, because you work really hard for yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say that you use your phone for the most?
Calling, texting my dad and my friends, and then I usually look stuff up, like phone numbers that my dad needs.
Okay, cool. And then do your parents have any rules about your cell phone? About how you can use it or when you can?
Not about when I can, just usually about like nothing, usually.
Do they ever check your cell phone?
No.
No? Okay.
They trust me.
All right. Thank you for participating. Good job.
Alright, Sam, now that you've concluded your research, is your opinion the same? Should adolescents have cell phones and use them in school?
As you grow up, the frontal lobes become more developed, and the frontal lobes are where you process consequences. And so because adolescents do not have the ability to see the consequences and make good decisions in concern of their future and their reputations beyond the immediate now, they should not be trusted with social media, cell phones, those kinds of things. And so that's why I had said it was a bad idea. However, I watched this YouTube video by TED Talk. It had a guest speaker. It's Adriana Galvin. She's a UCLA researcher. I believe we had it for our first week of assignment in our class. It's called Insight into the Teenage Brain. She also, again, talked about the brain, the frontal lobes, and consequences. But her point that really started to open my mind was the point of adolescence. Going from child to adult, that's a transition time. That's the time in which a child goes from being taken care of to become an adult who becomes a caretaker. And so this is a time where that lack of frontal lobe makes them extremely sensitive to rewards, to emotional stimulus, to social stimulus, and to new experiences. And so that's what gives them the ability to try new things and to establish their identity, to make their decisions, and determine the effect of consequences. And so this is a very important time of their life to learn the tools that are necessary for growth. Now, that is really important piece of the puzzle, is us giving them the tools as parents, as educators, to be able to be efficient caretakers, to be people, to be adults that are functional and independent and able to be givers into this community and this society. And so that I want to go into my reasons why it has changed. My opinion has changed. Number one, the times have changed. One of the points that an article I read by Bethany Ramos on the She Knows website, she documented the point that many of the families in our society today are divorced. Now, because of that, because usually custodies are split or one parent has custody, the parent who is not with the child will want their child to have a cell phone because it gives them the ability to keep in contact and keep that relationship intact, though they are not together. And so that is a major justification for children and adolescents to have cell phones, is because it opens up that communication. Now, that can be another reason why, a parent might not want their child to have communication if there's some problems with a dysfunctional parent or an unsafe parent or an unstable parent. However, that was a major point. That was a big eye-opener to me. And so that's a big thing. And then also, of course, as adolescents are becoming more independent and doing things on their own, parents like the idea of being able to check up on them and call them, communicate with them no matter where they are at any time. Another point is education and technology. That's how times have changed as well. Now, we read an article when we did our discussion about educational technology. There were many articles that talked about the future of technology. Right now we're at a paradigm shift in education and in society. These kids are growing up with tablets and DVD players and TVs and computers and their parents' cell phones. And so it is their world right now, the technological world. Everything is technological. And so it's their comfort zone, it's what they know, it's what they function in, and that is going to continue to grow moving forward. And so there has to be that sort of familiarity with the future if they're going to be expected to contribute to it and to expand it and to grow it, so that as a nation, as a society, as a people, we will continue to grow technologically. And one of the articles I read, it was another YouTube video. It was about the phases of education. And what it did is it broke down the difference between students as knowledge consumers versus knowledge producers. Now, that's really important because for so many years in education, we had the children regurgitating the information that we put out for them to memorize. This day and age, in a connected society, collaboration, resources, being able to utilize those resources to build information upon knowledge, to create a product or a solution to a problem, that is education. That is innovation. That is an innovation and invention. And that is the future. That's the technological future. And so if we shut off access to our adolescents who are the future, then we're limiting them from the tools that they need to survive moving forward and limiting our society in that form.
Alright, so now we've gone over some of the positives. So can you tell me what some of the negatives are?
Yes. Well, I do believe that most parents these days are aware of all the dangers that are out there with media. Of course, it's very difficult to monitor the kids' activities. Most of the time, adolescents are spending in social media is talking to their friends from school that they already know and not venturing too far out to new people. They do have support groups and they go into different areas to look for self-help situations. And so there is a lot of support, a lot of resources. But the not monitoring is a big concern with parents. Of course, there's also sexting, so sending graphic images of themselves and inappropriate conversation with various people. A lot of times it's boyfriends at school and everything else. You have bullying situations and being receptive to bullying. That has caused a lot of problems with teens. The negatives on the parenting side is one, of course, monitoring and having the fight about data over usage and always being on the phone. That's a big fight. But I would say the biggest disadvantage for parents and educators is that if we're going to equip them and teach them how to responsibly use their cell phones, then we've got to know what to teach them. And so that takes time and research and staying up to date and maintaining communications and having conversations and checking their cell phones. And so there is a lot of effort on our end to be attempt to be 2 steps ahead of them so that we can effectively monitor as best as we can. And so I know you were going to ask me, Jane, about how parents should parent cell phone use appropriately. There's a book by a Dr. David Walsh. It's iTeens Media and Technology. It's why are they acting this way? And he talked about the difference between the hands-on approach and the lockdown approach, and where parents should be somewhere in the middle. The lockdown approach is no media, everything, no cell phones, nothing. I can't monitor it, and so you're not allowed to play with it. And then there's the handoff approach that says, I can't monitor it, just do whatever you want, and you just don't talk about it and don't monitor it. Both of them are very dangerous for an adolescent. The path that a parent should be is somewhere in the middle, where they're teaching them responsible boundaries, they're talking it through to them, they're showing them useful resources. So rather than spending their times chatting online and playing Minecraft, which isn't always bad, there are positive resources, positive outlets to attempt to realize their dreams. Richard Daniel Curtis, he's a behavioral expert that speaks a lot on the BBC, and he gave a couple tips, and the 2 tips I want to talk about is first, when you first give your child a cell phone, is to install restrictive apps. There are a lot of parental control apps that a parent can install on their family plan and on individual phones within that family plan that can monitor access that the students have. Dr. Richard Curtis says take the training wheels off in your parenting tip, meaning as they prove to be more and more responsible and as they're growing in maturity, to slowly loosen the reins. And while you're loosening the reins, explain to them, double check with them, continually monitor what voices are speaking into their lives. Because no longer parents are they the major influence. Now it's the groups that they're accessing, the culture that they're accessing. The possibilities are endless for these kids, and they have it right there in their fingertip in ways that many of us can't even understand. And it's our responsibility to try to empower them rather than clipping their wings. And so I think it's really important, because when they're clipped, they know it, and it affects them socially and confidently. And so I do think it's very important for an adolescent to use a cell phone, but not just to have it for fun, but that they could learn to use that resource effectively. So it's important in schools as well.
you.